قول المؤلف وبين التشبيه والتعطيل. The author's saying Islam lies neutral between likening God to the creation and denying his attributes or existence. يعني به أن الإسلام الذي هو دين الله عز وجل. He means by it that Islam, which is the religion of God Almighty, هو إثبات الأسماء والصفات على ما جاءت به الكتب والرسل. It is the confirmation of the names and attributes according to what came in the books and what came from the messengers. من غير تشبيه, without any likening. كما فعلت المشبهة, without likening like how the likeners did. ولا تعطيل كما فعلت المعتزلة, nor with any denial of the attributes or existence of God, like the Mu'tazila did. حيث قالوا, where they said, إن الله لا يوصف بالعلم والسمع والبصر والقدرة والإرادة والتخليق والتكوين ونحوها من الصفات الذاتية والفعلية. Indeed, they said, Allah is not attributed with knowledge and hearing and sight and power and will and creating and giving being and the likes of those attributes of the self and attributes of action. فقالوا عالم لنفسه قادر لنفسه لا بعلم ولا قدرة. They said, he's knowledgeable by himself and powerful by himself, not by knowledge and not by power. فيكون مذهب المعتزلة في المعنى نفي العالمية والقادرية عن الله. And therefore, the school of the Mu'tazila in meaning is really the negation of his being a knower and his being powerful. Yani, what did they say? They said he is knowledgeable or a knower by himself, not by knowledge, and powerful by himself, not by power. So Sheikh says, the real result of the madhhab, the school of the Mu'tazila, is the negation of his being a knower and the negation of his being powerful. So it's atheism. ولا يقال هنا لازم-المذهب ليس بمذهب. It should not be said here about this case that what one's opinion insinuates without him saying it is not his opinion. أي لا يلزم من نفيه متصاف الله بالعلم نفي كونه عالما. Meaning, in this case they would mean for those people that their denying knowledge from Allah is not a denial of his being a knower. This can't be argued, the Shaykh is saying, based on what some said as, or supposed or proposed as a rule, Laazimul-Madh-hab laysa bi-madhhab. The insinuation of your opinion, if you don't say it outwardly, is not your opinion, which is not the accurate rule, but some said that. Shaykh says here, that statement, or that what some people put forth as a rule, does not apply here. Yani, if it is a rule, it doesn't apply here. It can't be argued here. Yani, what is that? The statement said by some, Laazimul-Madh-hab laysa bi-madhhab. the implication of your opinion, or what one's opinion insinuates, but without him saying it. He said something, so that's his opinion. And then what his opinion that he did say, what it insinuates, and this insinuation, he doesn't say it. So some say what one's opinion insinuates, but without him saying it, is not his opinion. The mere insinuation of one's opinion is not his opinion. Sheikh said that can't be done here or argued here. It doesn't apply here. Because when they say Allah is a knower, not by knowledge, but by himself. Powerful, not by power, but by himself, etc. Hearer, not by hearing, but by himself. So they're verbally confirming this adjective. He's a knower. They're saying in our faces, he's a knower, he's powerful, he's a hearer, he's a seer, etc. But they follow that up with, but not by power, not by hearing, not by sight. So then we say to them, this is blasphemy because you're insinuating that actually he's not a knower and he's not powerful, etc. Although you're saying he is, but you're insinuating that he's not. Sheikh says here, what some people stated as a rule, Laazimul-Madh-hab laysa bi-madhhab, the insinuation of your opinion, of one's opinion, is not his opinion, doesn't apply here. Meaning, one can't say, أي لا يلزم من نفيه متصاف الله بالعلم, that it's not necessary that because they have negated that Allah has knowledge, نفي كونه عالما, that they are negating that he's a knower. لأن هذا من اللازم البين, because in this case it's an obvious insinuation or an obvious implication. Because the scholars said, other scholars, they said the most exact rule, which is this: Laazimul-Madh-hab madhhabun idha kana bayyina. The implication or insinuation of one's opinion is his opinion if it were obvious. That's the correct rule. You said, are they denying the attribute? Yeah, they are denying the attribute. They are denying the attribute explicitly. They said, without knowledge, knowledgeable, not by knowledge, powerful, not by power, rather knowledgeable by himself, powerful by himself, hearing or hearer, not by hearing, but by himself, seer, not by sight, but by himself. So they are explicitly, blatantly denying the attribute, which is atheism. They're actually denying his existence. Then they cover up that denial by taking you for a fool and confirming the adjective anyway. So they say, no, he's a knower. He's a knower, don't worry. He's a knower, just not by knowledge. He is a seer, just not by sight. That's blasphemy. And they are denying even, not just the attribute, they are denying the attribute, and they're denying really what they're confirming. That's what the Sheikh is saying here. I think that's maybe what you're really wanting to ask. They're denying really what they are confirming. They're confirming something verbally, but really they're denying it. Because if he doesn't have knowledge, he's not a knower. If he doesn't have power, he's not powerful. As we learned previously, the adjective is validated by the attribute in the first place. The descriptive name is validated by the attribute in the first place. So, if one is not, for example, if he doesn't have the attribute of blackness, would he be black? Would he be described as black? If one doesn't have the attribute of whiteness, would he be described as white? No. So if the attribute doesn't exist, then the description itself doesn't apply. You said, so here Laazimul-Madh-hab applies. Yes. Laazimul-Madh-hab here does apply. There are three sayings. Laazimul-Madh-hab. Is it the implication or insinuation of your opinion? Is it your opinion? Or is it not your opinion? Or does it depend? So there's three sayings. Really, there's three wordings, let's say it that way. So some of them said, Laazimul-Madhhabi madhhab. The implication or insinuation of one's opinion is his opinion. Some of them said, Laazimul-Madhhabi laysa bi-madhhab, and that's what the Shaykh is tackling here. The implication of one's opinion or its insinuation is not his opinion, but what they meant was when it's not obvious. When it's not obvious. But they didn't say that part. They just said it's not his opinion. So some said the most accurate statement, Laazimul-Madhhabi madhhabun idha kana bayyina. The implication or insinuation of your opinion is your opinion if it's obvious. Example of an obvious one is who says Allah sits without saying Allah is a body. Let's say he even says Allah is not a body. He says Allah sits, literally and truly, with no alternative interpretation. But he's not a body, because we didn't find that in the Quran or the Hadith, for example. So what is he doing? He's trying to trick you. Because he's contradicting himself. Once he said Allah sits, he is saying Allah is a body. That's the implication of his statement or the insinuation of his opinion. He's just not saying it. And it's an obvious insinuation. And so it is held against him. And we say, you do believe he's a body. The implication of your opinion, in this case, is your opinion because it's obvious. In another case, which is the example of those who said, Allah cannot be seen. They meant it is impossible to see Allah. What's the implication of their opinion? That Allah does not even exist. Because whatever can't be seen, that's because it doesn't exist. Because whatever exists can be seen. Could be possibly seen. So when they said Allah cannot be seen, possibly, then they're really saying he doesn't exist. Can we hold that against them and deem them as blasphemers and atheists? And no, not in this case. Well, some scholars would, actually. Because some scholars, they said, actually, yeah, the implication of your opinion is your opinion. Some scholars did say that. Whether it's clear or it's not clear. And they said, it's all kufr. They said it's all kufr. All those strayings are kufr. Some scholars said, though, no. It's more delicate than that. Yes, it is. The implication is atheism leads to denying the existence of Allah, but it's not clear. It's not obvious. Meaning, we realize that even the one who's saying that doesn't believe that. He doesn't believe that Allah doesn't exist. And he didn't realize that what he's saying means that. And so, although that's the implication of his opinion, it's not his opinion because it's not obvious. That's clear? Shaykh goes with the exact statement, which is what he just said right here. So Shaykh says, لِأَنَّ هَذَا مِنَ اللَّازِمِ الْبَيِّنِ, because this is an obvious insinuation. So no one can defend them, Shaykh is saying, by this statement of some scholars, Laazimul-Madh-hab laysa bi-madhhab. The implication of one's opinion is not his opinion. And then say, oh no, just because they're saying he doesn't have knowledge, he doesn't have power, that doesn't mean that they're saying he's not a knower and he's not powerful. We say, yes, it does. It does mean that, and they're double talking. This is called double talk. We ask Allah to protect us from the double talkers and not to make us among them. Ameen. Who's kind of similar to those is the mischievous one who tells you to pardon him, or tells you just, you should think good of me, but he's mischievous. He's like that. It's like he's a double talker. He's a troublemaker. لأنه لا يصح في العقل عالم بلا علم, because it's not valid in the intellect that there would be a knower without knowledge. كما لا يصح عالم بلا معلوم, just like it wouldn't be valid that there would be a knower without something known. وكما لا يصح ضارب بلا ضرب ولا مضروب, just like it wouldn't be valid that there would be a strike without a striker and without what was struck. So hold on, I have some footnotes I have here written by my hand. الأصل في هذه المسألة أنه إذا كان اللزوم بينا ففيه اتفاق. The base of this case is that if the insinuation were obvious, then there is an agreement. وإلا, or else, if the insinuation is not obvious, فالأصح أنه ليس مذهبا, then what's most correct is that that obscure insinuation is not one's opinion. Meaning, we don't hold it against him. We don't accuse him of having it. But we can argue against him that that's what he's insinuating. بعض المحرفين في هذه المسألة يدخل منها. Some perverters in this case, some people who twist this case of the insinuation of one's opinion, they get into this case, they get involved here, so to say that the Mu'tazili, who says that humans create their own deeds, and the Jihawi, the person who believes that Allah is in a direction, neither of those are deemed blasphemers. They're going to say, because, ya akhi, did he say Allah has a body? And he's not even a Wahhabi. He doesn't even believe Allah has a body. He just doesn't want to make takfir. He say, ya akhi. Why? Because probably he's in their pocket. That's why. That's real. He say, ya akhi. Did he say Allah has a body? No. Don't you know that the scholars said, Laazimul-Madh-hab laysa bi-madhhab? The implication of one's opinion is not his opinion. You can't call him a kafir for that. انظر المهذب للعلائي. Check the book, Al-Muhadhab by Al-Ala'i.